Hello, we've come to Battersea Arts Centre to celebrate the joy of art. Although, of course, art isn't always joyful.
Indeed, you know, some great masters were known to insult, even sue their fellow artists.
Nothing our heavyweight judges can't handle. Welcome back. It's Portrait Artist of the Year 2020.
Today's 9 artists include 6 professionals. Rebecca Ascar, Enda Griffin, Mark Mulholland, Julie Douglas, Sophie Goudman-Peachy and Dorian Radu.
I'm not nervous at all because it's just a program that celebrates what we love to do most. So I'm really excited.
And there are 3 amateurs. Louise Saywood, Chris Longridge and Cyan Costello.
I've got palpitations, very nervous. Nothing like anything I've ever done before. It'll be exciting, but mad. Yeah.
Today's 9 artists are aiming to impress 3 judges with their mastery of portraiture.
The confidence with which he built this head is monumental. He's on his game.
But they'll only have 4 hours.
Are you going to be ready?
I'll be all right.
So they won't be afraid to throw convention out of the window.
I don't think we've ever seen a painting begin from the thighs upward before. If you have time, will you paint the face?
Hopefully, yeah.
They're competing for the unique chance to win a £10,000 commission to paint pop icon Nile Rodgers for the Royal Albert Hall.
So who will hold their nerve
Really panicking now. I want to scream.
and get to the semi-final?
I was just about to bark at her.
You were going to bark at her?
Yeah, but I would bark with much respect.
You will, with great respect, want her to do what you want her to do.
Yeah.
As the colours and contraptions come out, the judges discuss the self-portraits that brought the artists to the heat.
Our first submission, I don't think I've seen a self-portrait presented in this way before.
It's a drawing in a sleeve which has then been drawn onto.
But it kind of really wins me over. I want to know more about this artist and work out what they're trying to get at.
I really like the texture of the wood playing with the pattern of the zebra covering.
I'm usually very allergic to textiles and pattern. I think this works very well. The tones and colours work as a harmony.
This painting looks quite contemporary, but it looks like he's wearing a hoodie or something. It does feel like there's a real sense of contemplation.
There's great detail in certain areas around the eye, and the hands are very beautiful as well.
He could be kneeling and praying.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. This is such a compelling gesture. You feel the skin pushed up above the eye.
It's a very beautifully rendered and very complete portrait, and I think a very clever use of light.
Now, this is a very grand portrait.
Yeah.
It's really filmic. You could be looking at a film still. The scale of it, the narrative, the complexity, and the really, really compelling blue tone. She's so accomplished painting her reflection, the metal of the instrument, the incredible pattern on the fabric.
Yeah. We get this thin slice, and these little patches of colour in itself is very beautiful, and each mark is very beautiful.
This is Battersea Arts Centre.
Oh, of course.
And he's imagining his future self here at the competition.
Ah.
It's absolutely captivating, isn't it?
I mean, look at the floorboards, even the tape underneath the easel is perfectly observed.
The beautiful shoes.
The
come on.
brogues, I mean,
Yeah.
they're just kind of out of this world, aren't they? Another head in hand.
I think we're going to need to put the kettle on today a few times.
It's pretty emotional. This really luminous skin, the hairs on the chest, a very lifelike nipple. We don't get many nipples.
It's a study in light, isn't it? Light and shade in a way. This portrait feels as if it's been painted quickly and it's lively. It's weird, isn't it, when you see a portrait that actually isn't defined and yet you have a stronger sense of that person than if you saw something really specific.
I think this is what great contemporary art does. It's not necessarily about what they look like, but about who they are as a person. And I'm absolutely hooked already.
And if she does look like that, she'll be very easy to spot.
With canvases prepped and tubes arranged, all the artists need is a celebrity sitter. Artist, your sitter today is musical royalty. His outstanding career as a DJ and a broadcaster has spanned some 30 years. Please welcome Trevor Nelson. With shows on BBC One Extra and Radio 2, Trevor remains the authority on the UK's freshest music, earning himself 4 Mobos and an MBE. What an incredible career.
Thank you.
Are you able to keep up with the changing styles of music?
You have to be able to adapt. I've always loved old music, and I love new music equally, so I'm one of those rare people who likes it all.
Oh,
Yeah.
great. Now, how are you feeling about sitting in one position all day?
Never done that before in my life.
So this is a challenge for you.
Yeah, even on the plane, I get up and walk around after 2 hours, so I get really fidgety.
Artists, your sitter today danced her way onto the music scene as part of a girl group selling over 54 million records worldwide. Don't you wish your sitter was hot like me? Please welcome Pussycat Doll, Ashley Roberts.
Since Ashley crossed the pond, she's eaten eyeballs on I'm a Celebrity and danced the salsa on Strictly. So sitting for a portrait should be a doddle.
How are you? Please have a seat.
Okay.
You brought some glamour to the Battersea Arts Centre.
Gracias, I tried.
Look at this. Have you ever had your portrait painted?
I have never had my portrait painted. I'm really excited.
Are you good at sitting still?
No.
Okay.
It's going to be challenging today.
Uh-oh, okay.
Try and namaste it out.
Okay. Well, that would be an interesting pose for the whole 4 hours.
Artists, your sitter is a BAFTA and Olivia Award-winning actor, a hugely successful screenwriter and director. He became a household name with his hard-hitting Hood trilogy. Please welcome Noel Clarke. Commanding respect for his work on both sides of the camera, Noel's science fiction credentials are also pretty hard to beat, having starred in both Doctor Who and Star Trek. I hear you're such a ball of fire. How are you going to sit still for 4 hours?
I have absolutely no idea. I guess I'm just going to have to think about what project I'm going to write next or something like that. That's all I can do.
Artist, how do you want him to sit?
Find a relaxing, comfortable posture.
Yep.
If you're comfortable, then if you move a little bit, you'll end up coming back to where you were before.
OK.
You look lovely.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know.
There we go. Now we're talking.
After 4 hours would not be fun.
If you want to do full length, that's fine.
I think forward is
That's
more
what
engaging.
I do. That's what I like doing that. That's what I do. That's a listening pose.
Yeah, that's great. No, that's great.
It's for my mum, by the way, so make it a good one.
Artists, if you haven't ever tried mindfulness, now might be the time to start.
You have 4 hours to complete your portraits. Your time starts now.
Six of the artists today are choosing to start out by drawing. And while most map out features on traditional canvas, one is using his own drawing invention.
You're very close to Trevor.
Yeah.
A couple of feet?
I would say 2 feet. I'd like to be a foot closer if I could, but that'd be a bit too much. That wouldn't be fair.
It's an intimate thing anyway.
You can't. That's the beautiful thing about this drawatorium is you can't avoid.
It's called a drawatorium.
Yeah.
Did you make that name up?
I made that name up. Yeah.
Okay. Now all I can think of is different names for your drawing machine. Have you thought of the Drawmaster 2000? How about Draw Talent? Top Draw?
Drawmeister.
Drawmaster. Drawmeister. Yeah.
I think there's one of those already. Is there not? No.
Draw Jopping. Draw Jopping. Come on.
Draw.
Enda Griffin is a community worker from County Clare. Since painting Columbini in the 2015 heats, he's taken to painting and drawing on transparent sheets, combining the layers to make a single portrait.
What's happening now?
So look at the magic of
you slid a bit of card in behind.
It appears, it disappears. We're playing with layers of distance
Yeah, and then it's a matter of this and then the colour, and you have to go on this interface, this public interface, so the Drawatorium. So hopefully some people will write on that as well. And taking notes of what's happening, what's going on. I'll put a comment about you in a minute.
Good at drawing machine names.
You haven't gridded and you haven't done a drawing. You're sort of jousting with this painting and you're working out all your marks like this.
Yeah, eliminating any fear when you start off a painting is good to do, and therefore let's get straight into the brush, mark making, understanding, and allowing myself to see the mistakes.
Mark Mulholland is a former secondary school art teacher from Glasgow. Often commissioned to paint businessmen and writers, he knows what makes a good sitter.
Ashley is a very good sitter for the moment. She's staying relatively still.
So you're not one of these artists who likes to interact with the sitter and you'd like them to sit nailed to the chair. I like that. I'm just saying, I prefer it.
I think at this point, the light on her is working well with her bone structure. So I do want that fixed pose to continue.
Well, we'll let you on your merry way.
Thank you very much.
A sitter with a strong physical presence is a gift for a portrait artist. But capturing that on canvas takes confidence in your initial marks.
I think the best place is to start with the strongest darks and the strongest lights, the actual structure, the blocks, and don't get worried too much about where lines go, because you can finish that at the last minute. He's quite a monolithic head, it's like a statue of a head. If I can get that in, then I'm away.
Chris Longridge is a journalist from Bromley who credits Lucian Freud with inspiring his thick paint and broad brushstrokes. His self-portrait, in acrylic, took 12 hours. What kind of work did you...
I'm a TV journalist, in fact, Jane.
Oh, right. Oh, I see. And how does that colour your judgment being here today?
If you're interviewing someone, they're the focus, and when you're painting, they're the focus. You kind of meet them cold, you have your preconceptions, and then you have to sort of maybe draw something out of them over a period of time.
That's absolutely true.
Oh, it's an interesting parallel.
There is a parallel there, isn't it? It's to do with the bond between him and you, which is the most important bond that exists.
You seem very calm, which is great. And you've been practicing at speed?
I have been trying to practice at speed, yes, best left unsaid what the results were.
Cameras can be useful to zoom in on features or grid up a face. But one artist has decided to bring in a DIY version.
I've been looking through my camera Obscura. It's like an optical tool that simplifies the image that you're looking at.
It has all the attributes of a camera, like you can focus, you can blur things selectively. So I'll look through it and figure out the sort of colours I want to go for.
Cyan Costello is a fine art student from Roscommon. Her self-portrait took 2 days to create, using oil and acrylic paint, pencil, chalk and pen.
Cyan, I don't think we've ever seen a painting begin from the thighs upward before.
I really enjoy painting white, so when I saw that she was wearing like this lovely kind of cream jumpsuit, the blue kind of shadows and the creamy highlights immediately caught my attention.
Yeah,
it'll come eventually.
So if you have time, will you paint the face?
Hopefully, yeah. I don't want to be working on a very small face, so maybe the face might be a lot bigger. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it sounds really interesting.
Very intriguing start. Well done.
Nice one.
Thank you.
It's almost an hour into today's 4-hour challenge. And for some, the tension is already starting to bite.
Who's in charge, the sitter or the painter?
I was just about to bark at her just a moment ago.
You were going to bark at her?
Yeah.
What did she do wrong?
She just looked a wee bit to the side when I was making a vital decision in my mind. But I would bark with much respect.
You will, with great respect and politeness, want her to do what you want her to do.
Yeah.
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 I have a rough idea of the direction I need to go in, but I'm trying to stay open and loosey-goosey about it and see what happens.
I could be struggling for hours trying to find a likeness and it'll never happen. And then it'll become overworked and it's too late to go back. So I'm just hoping at some point something good will happen.
At Battersea Arts Centre, 9 artists have 3 hours left to paint Noel Clarke, Ashley Roberts and Trevor Nelson. And even the public is taking part, drawing onto what will be the frame for one artist's portrait.
You can do some here.
Yeah, that'll do.
That's it.
Although the sitters' faces are only just beginning to emerge on canvas, the sitters themselves are making quite an impression.
Now, he is a fine figure of a man, isn't he? I mean, he's got a lot of weight. He certainly is. But you have got quite a small canvas. It's a shame to miss out on those shoulders.
You've got a thing about his shoulders.
But I've got a couple more canvases, you know. I could always stick a couple on each side and have a triptych.
Well, it's rather conspicuous about his presence, isn't it?
It's all about the time limit here.
And he's quite high up in the canvas. Was that a conscious decision?
He's trying to get the shoulders in.
I'll get a bit of shoulder.
Especially for you.
That's right. Well, you know, I had a feeling they'll be asked for shoulders.
Former illustrator Julie Douglas runs an art school in Belfast. She had to create a self-portrait for the competition, as normally she finds the faces of others far more interesting to paint.
Noel feels particularly that he's got a slightly crooked face. I mean, I don't see it myself.
I think we can all be a little bit self-conscious, can't we? I think he's got a great face.
Yeah,
actually, real perfection can sometimes look unattractive. The more you observe, the more beauty there is in every face.
It's quite remarkable that each one of us is different.
I know, it's the same recipe, different cooking.
Trevor had a very subtle smile that I really want to include in the painting, and I think will be a very defining element into the whole thing. And even though it's a very subtle element, I think it can change a mood.
Dorian Radu is a professional artist who painted Matthew Good in last season's competition. His regular commissions include one for the Romanian royal family, and they always involve quick preparatory paintings.
You've got off to a flyer.
I'm trying to emphasize the hands and the head more than anything else. So I'll try to approach this as a study for a commission rather than a final piece. I really like his position.
Yeah.
At some point,
it's a very dynamic
said,
position, isn't it?
Yeah, at some point he said that he doesn't feel like his facial features are very special.
Oh, you have to disagree, though. There's
yeah,
a lot
exactly.
of character there, isn't there?
Exactly.
Well, I look forward to seeing what you do.
Thank you.
I'm painting the colours as and where I see them, so it will look a bit haphazard, but I think in the later stages it will all come together, I hope.
Rebecca Asgar is an art student from London. Her self-portrait took 500 hours and explored her cultural identity by featuring 3 versions of herself.
But do you think you might introduce an element of storytelling somehow?
The way that I would perhaps do that is maybe just through the expression on his face and the feeling that he's about to jump out from the chair.
But you've actually put the background in, or a sense of it already.
I did feel like I needed to anchor that head because I felt like it was going to float.
It's a good start.
Yeah. Just don't show tie your palette.
It is a bit messy.
Yeah,
it's
so
okay.
I might have to
I'll
clear it. I'll have to clean it up.
Each heat, the backdrops to the sitters pay tribute to a famous artist.
Kate, what's the theme of the day?
Frida Kahlo, one of my favourites. So we've got a set that's all about flowers. We all know she wore those fantastic flowers in her hair. We've got another set that refers to the way that she dressed. She used to wear these very traditional peasant weeple garbs.
So behind Trevor, we have the Blue House.
The famous Blue House where she lived with her painter husband, Diego Rivera. So what you're really seeing is the play of light through the trees onto the Blue House.
How's Trevor doing as a sitter? That's a tough pose.
I think he'll just boss it out. He wanted to deliver. I think sometimes people don't know quite what they're getting themselves into when they agree to sit like that.
Yeah.
And it'll probably be 3 o'clock this afternoon that he'll be
carried to hospital.
He'll be fed up, but it'll be good.
I think it's interesting, the crowd, they're actually allowed to stare at you. They stare at you, they stare at the work, you're looking straight ahead, but you can catch them in your periphery. It's really bizarre, but I think it's more pressure for the artists.
What I like about Frida Kahlo's work is its spikiness, really. She suffered a lot through her life, and nobody painted like her.
What's your view of the sitter?
I think Noah's sitting very well, and I think the way the colours work with his beautiful skin tone, he's got this beautiful grey top on, so our painter should have a good time.
I didn't actually realise that sitting so still was so tiresome. I always thought expending energy was the thing that made you most tired, but I think weirdly you must be expending some sort of energy sitting still, because I'm knackered.
How's Ashley getting on?
She's so tense. I think one of the artists sort of told her that...
He's been disciplining
He told her not to move.
Right.
And a minute ago, she was trying to hide her swallow. You know, she was sort of that rigid. She's really cooperating with each of the artists. You know, what more can you ask for of a
Good
sitter?
for her.
It's been challenging, and then I've got a few cramps in places where I'm like, whoa. But I'm trying to channel my inner, like, Mr. Miyagi moments and give the artists what they need.
Even if artists choose to ignore the background, the colours still reflect on the sitter's skin. And after spending the morning drawing, one artist is finally tackling this.
There's lots of different tones going on, different colours. So there's like the cooler ones, which are like the pink and the purples, and then there's the warmer, yellower, orangey tones. But I find that's what excites me most when I'm painting, is the different colours I can come up with.
Sophie Goudman-Peachy studied at Wimbledon College of Art. Originally from Brighton, her self-portrait took 160 hours over 2 months.
You've actually got a very nice feel of Noel.
I think it's because I recognise him. I know him from his movies and stuff, which kind of helps me get a likeness, I hope. If I'd seen his face for the first time, it's difficult for me to...
Yeah. Oh, OK, so that gave you a sense of comfort. You knew
like,
you were in
I
the...
feel like I know his face,
Yeah.
I know how it should look.
No. It's quite fun to watch you paint, actually, over your blue drawing.
We'll see how it goes.
Louise, does it make a difference to you if you're painting someone whose coloration is sort of similar to yours?
I think it does, yeah, because you've got a good sense of how the light reflects off your skin. But I want to do more work on the skin.
Okay.
I want to get a bit more depth to it.
How do you do that?
I'm just adding layers, let it dry, work on something else and going back to it.
Louise Saywood is from West Yorkshire and created her submission in 15 hours. To make a good portrait, she believes one feature above all must be right.
The eyes are fabulous.
I tend to start with the eyes because to me, the eyes are pretty important, especially when it comes to getting a good likeness. You know, something could be slightly out in any other part of the portrait, but the eyes, I try and get them as spot on as possible.
Well, it looks stunning.
Thank you.
The artists are almost 2 hours into the competition.
He looks a little bit tranquilised in my painting, and that's not him at all. He's very engaged, and I haven't quite got that.
I started off with the full-length figure, but with the head, I didn't want to give it such a small space on the canvas, so I kind of created a new boundary to have the head on, and then hopefully the two might kind of layer over each other. But yeah, there's a lot of work to do yet, I think.
My only concern is how far should I go? I can always fill in the whole thing, but I think that would be a bit overworked because I don't want to transform it into an illustration. I really like the bare canvas.
Well, it's halfway time. What do we make of the whole scene?
I was going to say, Noel's section, they're all doing rather well. They've all got a likeness of Noel rather quickly.
Yeah, Julie's doing a very nice job. What we're seeing is something get better and better looking as the day progresses.
I agree with that. Let's talk about Chris.
I mean, the confidence with which he built this head is monumental. It looks and feels like the sitter. He's on his game.
I completely agree about that with Chris's portrait. Even Trevor said that when he walked past it, he felt like it was Noel and could almost start talking to it.
I think Trevor's back started to hurt, but it is a dynamic pose and it suggests a narrative.
The way Dorian has treated it looks wonderful.
But, you know, I think he's got a good likeness. He finished the head really early on. What's he going to do wrong in the next hour?
Oh, don't say that, because we've seen them go.
But what about Enda? What is Enda doing?
It's, in a sense, a three-dimensional diary of today, with comments written about what's happening, the drawing of Trevor, his working on additional layers.
He just wants to make a piece of work that draws people in, because that's what he's interested in.
Now, cyan also had a strange approach to it at the beginning. How is it developing, do you think?
Oh, I think it's a wonderful, weird, unusual, contemporary way of painting. And although it's peculiar, her submission was strange but brilliant. I think we're going to get strange but brilliant.
I find Cyan's painting very seductive, but I'm also thinking that her painting is going to have to stand up against some of the more conventional portraits. Then it will be difficult because we might end up judging between likeness and painterliness, and there can only be one winner.
They don't all convince me yet because I'm a bit bewildered by some of it, so perhaps they'll all surprise us.
I don't know if I'm a good sitter or not. There's 4 rivets up there, is where I've looked the whole time. I haven't looked at any of the artwork. I'm just excited to see whatever their interpretation of me is.
What I love about art is it's your own experience, and I'm excited to experience myself in these other artists. Can't wait to see what I look like through their eyes.
Imagine it's MasterChef, guys. You've got to finish your pudding. This is better than MasterChef, actually, because you eat that and then it's gone. You keep this forever.
Even when painting the same sitter, artists are drawn to different things and will choose what to accentuate in their portraits.
There's a lot of warm red reflected in the skin. There's some real nice plum colours, which is the same as the background. I think I have that okay. He's a great model. I hope I've done him justice.
This is such a cool and serene painting.
Oh.
There's a tone of green all over it,
Yeah.
which is very unusual.
Yeah, but I never really see blonde hair as blonde. My eyes see more green than I do blonde. It's all the different brown tones that kind of relate to the green.
Yeah, it conjures her up entirely.
You're right. What are you doing?
The camera obscura.
Right.
So do you see the yellows and the people walking about?
I do.
So if we try and focus it even more so. What's happening? We can go really close up.
It's coming in for a close-up.
There she is.
There she is.
No.
Is it a good angle?
It's a good angle.
It's a good angle. Okay, great.
Okay. Oh, there you are.
It's me. How did I look through there?
I mean, you can't really see a lot.
Because it blurs everything that's happening. You just see blocks of these kind of glowing colours, which are really nice.
So your eye is seeing too much detail.
Yeah.
So when you use that, you get a more impressionistic
Yeah.
idea?
Yeah.
I can't wait to see how it translates onto that.
Me too. It was an interesting experience from here.
I can imagine.
Yeah, well.
And I don't think I've come across a sitter who's working quite so hard to be...
I advised early on
Oh, yes,
to keep focused.
Yeah, well, she's done that. She's
She has
terrified
done-
of you,
she's
clearly.
done fantastically. We just want to get it. We want to get it right.
He's been a good sitter?
He's been an ideal sitter.
Ideal?
He was, yeah.
I feel like I am moving a lot.
No, you are steady as a rock, sir.
Great.
Well
I only
done.
use this chin, not this one.
I can't see another one, but if you say so.
Look.
Oh, yeah. So you're going to take some of those chins out?
Well, 2 of them, yes.
Artists have just over half an hour left, and while most are drawing on reserves, one is relying on the audience to draw on his portrait.
Where the public are making their marks is important to me because it's about communication and a relationship. I think I've captured some of the energy, so I'm happy enough, close to finished.
I think I'm done for the day, to be honest. To stop when everything feels unfinished, it might be a bit of a gamble, but I feel I captured what I initially intended to.
But still so much to do. Really panicking now. I want to scream. In fact, I might scream. Internally.
Ashley Roberts, Noel Clarke and Trevor Nelson have been painted by our 9 artists for almost 4 hours.
Chris, you sort of backed away.
All I can do now is make it worse, so step away.
I'm feeling very stressed right now. I'm just going to finish his hair. So he's got like a head, but I've got quite a lot I would have liked to have done.
It's obviously it's not finished yet, but keep going like the clappers.
Artists, you have 5 minutes left.
I'm just feeling dismayed. It's never going to be finished, ever.
Are you going to be ready? Because it's like minutes to go.
I'll be all right.
I'm quite tense.
That should sit.
Artists, your time is up.
Please put down your equipment and step away from your portraits.
Well
done. That's great.
Very well done. You're really fantastic. Thank you so much.
It's time for the sitters to see their portraits and to choose which one they will be leaving with today. It's over, Trevor.
Phew.
Do you enjoy it?
I enjoyed the experience. The only problem is they came up with a pose they liked, which was me leaning forward like this, which for 4 hours is really difficult to do, but it's a bucket list tick for me.
Well, we're going to see what they did. Artists, would you turn round your easels?
Oh, yes, I like. 3 very different. I like them, I really do. Well done.
Thank you.
You did it in the end.
Yeah, I did.
That is 100% me. I know that look.
Thank you.
It's not like a photo put on canvas.
Yeah, this is the work of the people in Banijay Arts Centre.
Right. I can tell that's me, but it's more about me, the person, as well,
Yeah.
and my thoughts and everything else that goes with it. I look like I've got a strong Hollywood jaw, which is really nice. I'm impressed in that short space of time.
OK, Trevor, the moment of reckoning.
If I wanted it for myself, I'd probably go for that one because I like weird, wacky stuff. You did really well because you really did capture me, but my mum would love that one. So that's
You survived.
I survived. It was challenging sitting there and just being like, OK, I've got 3 more hours. All right.
Well, I think it's time. Artists, please turn your easels.
Wow. Whoa. OK. Wow, they're so different.
Aren't they?
Wow.
Let's go and have a closer
OK,
look.
let's do it. Wow. It's giving me a bit of, like, mermaid vibes.
Do you have much mermaid in your family tree?
I do, yeah. Mom goes way back. It's really cool. Wow, this one's trippy. Yeah.
Just amazing how you put through a creative mind.
It's quite cool. Yeah. Wow.
Colourful.
It's really cool, though. Do you normally work with this much colour?
Needs to be blended a bit more, but yeah.
I mean, it is a challenge to do.
It's a challenge, yeah, and I was all over the place at the start, you know, measuring
you were
the
barking
eye.
at me.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I didn't bark back, though. I kept my cool.
OK, Ashley, it's decision time.
I'm going with that one.
Congratulations. Thank you. Amazing. Well done.
It's over, Noel.
Yeah, I'm knackered. I think I'm a lot more slouchy in real life. And...
So you're a bit of tension. You could do with a bit of a massage.
Oh, is that an offer?
No, no.
Yeah, it was amazing, a great experience.
Well, let's see what they've done. Artists, turn your easels round.
Awesome. Awesome, they're all awesome. That's me, and that's me.
Well, come and meet them.
I think it's amazing. Got me eyes spot on, sort of not quite straight hairline, very accurate. Could have straightened it a little bit, but yeah. Great, yeah, I love it. I'm looking very serious there.
Well, you were not laughing.
No, I wasn't. Because I thought if I laughed, I would have to maintain it for the whole time.
You would have.
It's amazing. I'm loving it. That's also amazing.
You had the slightly uncomfortable pose of leaning forward a little bit, and I wanted to make sure that I got that in there.
Yeah, yeah.
A little bit of a frown.
That is my natural resting, it's my resting face. That's, yeah, amazing.
Now, come and make your choice.
I think that I have to choose Chris.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
As the artists unwind, the judges examine their finished work.
Ashley really responded well to the colour in Mark's portrait. That sense of energy and vibrancy.
Yes, it has aspects of her, but I do feel it's sort of aged her.
What Cyan's managed to give us is a real sense of Ashley.
You're absolutely right. But we have to say Cyan's portrait is bonkers as well.
Oh, yeah. She definitely likes breaking all the rules. She's a great young experimental painter. Louise, she's done a good job. I think there's definitely a likeness, but the eyes are not quite real enough, so they go a bit more Disney princess.
Yeah. Having said that, there is a delicacy which matched the sitter. Dorian's portrait of Trevor is very accomplished. The key elements are there, but it feels very slight to me.
I think you could read it like that, but this is a sensational likeness, and I think he was very intelligent not to overwork it.
With Ender's portrait, the methodology overtook creating a good likeness of Trevor.
We learn a lot about Trevor from this piece. Whether we learn a lot about what Trevor looks like is debatable. I was pleased to see that Rebecca chose this format. I think there's a lovely kind of rhythm and energy that's contrasted with this quite still, reposed expression.
Yes, but what I'm struggling with is the likeness here.
There is a great sense of Noel with his slightly crooked mouth. Chris really caught him in all his essence.
He's so present and so present.
I think Julie's painting has got such a charming sense of scale.
Yes, it's like a head from centuries ago.
It reminds me very much of those mummy portraits. It has this incredible presence.
I fell in love with Sophie's blue drawing this morning. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I think she's been able to make a pretty impressive painting because she's caught an aspect of Noel that I absolutely recognise. Rock and roll.
The judges must now narrow down 9 artists to 3.
Though this is so much smaller, it really holds its own.
I struggle with the likeness of that one, though.
I would like to put the little one right at the end there.
Oh, OK.
No.
No, it doesn't work. It is actually, that one is better, isn't it?
It is.
So let's put it back.
I think the 3 of them are so diverse, it's so difficult to choose between them that it's going to be a really interesting debate.
Artists, it's been a real pleasure watching you create your portraits. Thank you.
After scrutinising your work, the judges have chosen a short list of 3. The first artist is Dorian Radu.
The second artist is Chris Longridge.
And the third artist is Cyan Costello.
It's been a really amazing experience, and I was happy to get it finished in the time. I realise mine looks very small, although it looks much bigger if you stand very close to it.
Well, 3 very different paintings today, 3 very different submissions, 3 very different artists. So Dorian earlier on said, I'm going to treat this as if it's a commission.
I think he came here today with a real plan about what he could achieve in the time, and We've got a beautifully observed head and a sense of the person's physicality in the space. So he has captured that very well.
I think, although Dorian's head of Trevor is absolutely exquisite, I find it a pity that he then just kept it to the shorthand when he could try to make, dare I say, art out of the sketch. You can't deny it's a great likeness. But I get the sense that Dorian's main aim was to make a likeness. And I think on this show, we don't only want a good portrait, but we want something that lives beyond its comparison to somebody else. It needs to stand on its own as a work of art.
It is Portrait Artist of the Year, you know.
Yes, but the artist is also just as important. And I think that's something we need to keep an eye on.
Well, Chris, that is a substantial piece of portraiture, both of them.
It's light, it's fresh. It's a very sensitive portrait of Noel.
I think that if you look at both paintings side by side, you can see that Chris is wonderful with his use of light. He's thinking about the way that this head, these people sit in space and they exist.
I'm always a bit allergic about this psychological depth, but there's something about his portrait of Noel where you know there's a living, thinking, feeling human being.
Well, you can't deny that Cyan has brought herself to that portrait.
Yeah, I think even if I hadn't have seen Ashley, I could look at that painting and know that it depicted a beautiful woman. I think the difference between Cyan and Dorian is that Dorian really hammered hard on the portrait and left the art to one side, and Cyan's the opposite, and she left the portrait a little bit to one side.
I agree. I think people at home will be going, why did she do that?
You think about the Vaseline on the lens of old-fashioned movies. In a way, she's done something similar. She's given us that sort of smoky sense, and Ashley was smoky.
Would you say that she took a very risky route?
I don't know, I mean, because we don't know who's going to win.
Well, if you don't know who's going to win...
Well,
I don't...
But does outcome matter more than motive?
Wow. Motive.
Discuss.
We're in a competition, and I suppose we have to admit that today outcome is important.
Dorian, Cyan, Chris, there's no doubt that each of you has impressed the judges today. However, only one can go forward from this heat.
The artist that the judges have selected is Chris Longridge.
It's amazing! I couldn't believe it when they said it was me. I didn't think I would get shortlisted, and I certainly didn't think I was going to win.
Well done. I thought the winning portrait was fabulous, and he's such a lovely guy. He deserves it 100%.
I think he got the likeness from the beginning of the day and indeed kept it. So I do think Chris is a deserving winner.
Thank you very much.
See you the next time. Chris won today because of his authenticity, the way he captures a person in all their complexity, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him in the semi-final.
It's such a vote of confidence to go through to the semi-final. I just think, they like me. It's great.